At the beginning of the movie, a war veteran named Walt Tenga mourns the death of his recently deceased wife named Dorothy.
I'm real sorry about Dorothy, Walt.
Thanks for coming, Al.
At that time, many of his closest relatives attended Dorothy's funeral ceremony at the church, including his 2 sons named Andy and Mitch. Walt also has 4 grandchildren, one of which is a girl.
What are you gonna do with him? Don't you think he's gonna get in trouble over there? All by himself in the old neighborhood? Why don't you have him move in with you?
When Walt returned home, he was visited by a young pastor who said that Dorothy was very close to him during her lifetime. The late Dorothy also sent a message to the young priest to look after Walt after she died and persuaded Walt to make a confession which he had never done. Walt then said that he would not confess in front of someone younger than him.
I appreciate the kindness you've shown to my wife, and I confess that I have no desire to confess to a boy that's just out of the seminary.
At Walt's house, the atmosphere was boisterous, and Walt chose to be alone. He then went to his garage and found his grandson smoking there. Also in the garage was a 1972 Ford Gran Torino. Seeing the car collection, his grandson asked what he would do with the car when he died. However, Walt did not answer his grandson's question and walked away.
Then what about that super cool retro?
Wish I could help, Dad, but gotta get the kids home. Kids are getting restless.
Yeah, fine, just go.
Bye, dear. Walt, get started?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, next door to Walt's house was a group of Chinese Asians surnamed Hmong. Within the group, a young man named Tao was looked down upon by his family for being too obedient to his older brother's orders. From the outside, Walt seemed unhappy with the Chinese presence and wondered why they had moved into his neighborhood.
How many swamp rats can get in one room?
The next day, Tao walks alone in his neighborhood, reading a book. Unbeknownst to him, he is followed by a car containing a group of American gangsters who harass and berate him. Meanwhile, from the opposite direction, a car also appeared with gangsters from the Asian group, one of whom was Tao's cousin. The American and Asian gangsters got into an argument for no apparent reason until one of the American gangsters pointed a gun at the Asian gangster. This then made one of the Asian gangsters named Smokey brandish an Uzi-type weapon. Seeing the Uzi owned by Smokey, the American gangster group then left. After they left, the Asian gangsters began to approach Tao, and one of their members, named Spider, forced him to join their gangsters. But Tao didn't seem interested in joining because he didn't like violence and didn't want to get into trouble. They then left Tao, who continued his journey. Unexpectedly, Spider and his friends approached Tao's house, where he was gardening in his yard at that time. Her sister named Sue was on the house terrace. The Asian gangsters then approached Tao, who began to continuously persuade and force him to join their gang. Meanwhile, Sue decided to go inside the house. Because he had been forced to do so, Tao finally stood up and agreed to join the group.
Shit off, man. Come on.
Come on, roll with us, man. Come on.
Just need somebody to protect you, man. That's what your big cousin is for.
You guys are stupid. I'm going inside.
We're cuz, right? We're family.
Look at your hands dirty, man.
Spider told me a boy next door got a badass weapon.
Tao's first job as a gangster is to steal his neighbor's Gran Torino car, which belongs to Walt.
It's in mint condition, man.
Yo, now that's a nice call.
In the evening, Tao launched an action to steal Walt's car. However, Walt apparently realized someone was trying to get into his garage. With the rifle in his possession, he then headed for the garage to chase the thief away. Tao was frightened by Walt's bluff and decided to escape Walt's house. Meanwhile, the dark condition of the garage made it impossible for Walt to clearly see who would steal his car. Outside Walt's house, the gang of gangsters was waiting for Tao from the car. Meanwhile, Walt then repairs his garage so that a similar incident does not happen again. The following day, Walt received a call from his eldest son. When he received it, apparently his eldest son didn't mean to ask how he was but asked about his mother's jewelry. This made Walt annoyed and made him just hang up the phone. He then relaxed in front of his house, staring at the Gran Torino in his driveway.
It's He's sweet.
That night, Spider and his friends came to Tao's house to invite him back to join their group. But this time, the gangster group was aggressive by forcing and pulling Tao, who was sitting in his yard. Because of the commotion, the rest of the Tao family came out of the house and tried to separate them. The commotion apparently caused them all to feud until they set foot in Walt's yard. Walt had apparently witnessed the commotion, and when they entered his area, Walt was ready to point his gun at them. The American gangster group decided to retreat and leave the place.
Get off my lawn.
You fucking crazy? Go back in the house.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now. Just stack fucks like you 5 feet high in Korea.
The Tao family then thanked Walt for making the gangsters leave, but Walt just told them to stay away from his house area.
Get off my lawn.
The following day, Walt was surprised by the variety of food and gifts in his yard. Apparently, the Tao family thanked him for his actions yesterday, which Walt himself had never helped anyone and just didn't want his yard to be disturbed by anyone. Moments later, Tao, accompanied by his mother, approached Walt and said that Tao apologized for the attempted theft of Walt's car that he did the other day. Walt only advised him not to repeat the same mistake, and if he did it again, he did not hesitate to kill him. That afternoon, Sue was walking with her friend to the record store. On their way, they meet a group of delinquents and they start harassing them. Sue is not afraid of their treatment, but it makes the delinquents even more challenged to annoy Sue. From a crossroads, Walt appeared in his Gran Torino and approached them. Walt seemed to gesture to take a gun out of his pocket and make the gang of thugs underestimate him even more. However, they did not expect Walt suddenly pull out a real gun from his pocket. He then ordered Sue to get into his car.
You here to bring me this little present? Some months you bringing it to us?
Fuck out of here, man. Oriental yummy.
Stop! Go!
Crazy motherfucker, man. What's wrong with him, man? You better get your ass on, Hunky, while I still let you.
The fuck?
This crazy motherfucker, man. What's wrong with him, man?
Get in the truck.
Oh, shit. Come on now. Hey, Pops. Come on now.
Now get in the truck. You fucking don't listen, do you?
On the way, Sue and Walt engaged in small talk. Walt was more friendly than usual, and Sue responded well to his chatter. A few days later, Walt seemed to be relaxing in front of the house when he saw the old woman who was his front neighbor dropping her groceries from the trunk of the car. Simultaneously, a group of youths passed, and instead of helping, they instead making fun of the woman. Walt looked like he was about to get up from his chair, but before he got up, he saw Tao rushing over to the old woman and helping her carry her things into the house. Not long after, Sue approached Walt to invite him to a barbecue at their house. Walt glanced at his cool empty storage and apparently, he had run out of beer. He then accepted Sue's invitation, hoping he would get a beer from Sue's house. The arrival of Walt was warmly welcomed by Sue's family, except for Sue's grandmother, who was still cold to Walt. In the family, there was a healer who kept his eyes on Walt. The healer then looked into Walt's dark past. He then said that Walt had made serious past mistakes and that it burdened him for the mistakes he had made until now. Hearing the healer's statement, Walt decided to be alone for a moment. But not long after, he coughed and decided to go to the toilet.
He's been staring at me the whole evening.
He's a Lord family shaman.
Cork was interested in you. He heard what you did.
He says you have no happiness in your life. It's like you're not at peace.
In the toilet, he noticed blood in his cough, which meant he wasn't feeling well. When he opened the toilet door, he found Sue asking how he was, but Walt covered it up by saying he was fine. As Walt was about to leave the house, Sue's mother said that Tao intended to atone for the attempted theft of his car by giving money or rendering services to Walt. Sue's family also reassures Walt that this is important to do and that they will feel insulted if Walt refuses this. Walt then accepted the offer from Tao and hired him the next day. At home, Walt was coughing up blood more often and decided to visit the doctor to check himself. Based on the examination results, the doctor stated that Walt had a chronic disease and his life would not be long. This makes Walt contact his children individually in hopes of mending his bad relationship. But his good intentions are ignored by his children, who says they are currently busy.
Hey, Dad. In fact, speaking of busy, I got a lot on my plate right now, so if there's not something pressing,
No, not at all. Yeah.
The next day, Walt hired Tao to do various jobs, from helping fix roofs, uprooting trees, cleaning cars, and lifting things to painting houses. Everything was done by Tao to save himself from the association of Asian gangsters who often passed their house. While observing Tao, Walt realized that he was a man who was shy and had low self-esteem. This fact makes Walt move his heart to make Tao a tough young man. Tao was then invited to work in one of the factories owned by Walt's friend, Tim Kennedy. Tim then accepted Tao as one of its workers and promised to find a job in the factory for him. A few days later, Tao was officially an employee of Tim's factory. Tao, who was returning from the factory at that time, was seen getting off the bus when he was confronted by a group of Asian gangsters who used to harass him. They then attacked Tao and poked a cigarette in his cheek, causing him to scream in pain. After the persecution, Tao finally continued his journey home empty-handed because all his factory tools had been damaged by the gangster.
Hey, give me that. Hey, come on, that's my stuff. Smash it. My job, man. Come on, smoke, man. Fuck it. Let me go.
On the way, Walt meets Tao and realizes he has just been bullied by a gang of gangsters. Walt then visits Spider's headquarters but only finds Smokey. He then beats him to a pulp and warns him not to disturb Tao if he wants to live peacefully.
You mean don't worry about it? Look at your goddamn face. Cowards. Where's your cousin live?
Hey.
Here's the deal. You stay away from Tao, understand? That's it. Got it?
Oh, I've never seen you like this before. Having a good time, I see.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling good. You know, I got beautiful women, great food. And even Tao isn't bugging me.
Never ends.
What happened to your knuckles anyways?
I slipped in the shower. No big problem.
One night, Walt was seen in the living room of his house. Suddenly Spider's group passed in front of Tao's house and fired at the house as a warning not to mess around. Hearing this, Walt rushed to check on his neighbor. Lucky Tao only had a scratch on his neck, and no other family members were injured. Tao then remembered Sue at her friend's house. He rushed to contact Sue's friend, but she said Sue had left about an hour ago. They then waited anxiously for Sue to come home, fearing that the group would do something to her. Moments later, they heard Sue's voice in pain from outside the house. They rushed over to Sue, who was battered all over her body. Sue had apparently been violated by the gangsters, which made her family and Walt sad and devastated. Walt then excused himself to go home because his emotions worsened. He began to vent his emotions by destroying things in his house.
Police finally left.
After being satisfied with venting his emotions, he confessed to the priest. Walt admitted that he had killed hundreds of innocent people while fighting in Korea. Walt then asked for permission to carry out the massacre once again, but this time on humanitarian grounds, to keep Tao and Sue's family alive.
What are you saying? I took Sue to the hospital. She's scared. They're all scared.
Yeah. Tao and Sue are never gonna find peace in this world as long as that gang's around. Until they go away, you know, forever.
So what are you gonna do, Mr. Kowalski?
Whatever it is, they won't have a chance.
How long has it been since your last confession?
Forever.
What are your sins, my son?
I was never very close with my two sons.
Yes, go on.
I don't know them. I didn't know how.
That's it?
It's bothered me most of my life.
Are you going to retaliate for what happened to Sue?
Busy day. Gotta go.
Go in peace.
Oh, I am at peace.
Jesus Christ.
With Tao, Walt cleaned up the rifle he had long owned. Tao also seems impatient to avenge his sister by killing Smokey and his friends. Walt then took him to the basement to be given a silver star because they might not survive the action tonight. The silver star was given as a form of appreciation for Tao's courage to carry out this action. However, Walt suddenly locks the door, locking Tao in the basement.
Walt! What are you doing?
He apparently already has a plan for revenge alone and does not want to involve anyone in the action. Tao seemed furious at Walt's actions, but there was nothing he could do but shout at Walt to open the door for him. After leaving his dog with Tao's grandma, Walt then called Sue to tell her the basement key where Tao was locked. He said he wanted Tao and Sue's families to live more peacefully without gangsters disturbing them.
Know what it's like to kill a man right in the face with that rifle you were holding in there a while ago. I got blood on my hands. I'm soiled. A day goes by that I don't think about it. You don't want that on your soul. But you got your whole life ahead of you. But me, I finish things. That's why I'm going it alone tonight. Let yourself in. Your brother's in the basement. I gotta go.
We're like this right now. What's going on? He left for fun.
That night, Walt approached the gangsters' headquarters, and they were all ready with weapons in hand. Walt then gestured to shoot them one by one using his bare hands. He then put his hand back into his pocket and made all the gangsters think he was going to take out a gun, but in reality, he just took out a cigarette from his pocket. Walt then asked them all if they had matches. The gangster members were confused by his question. Walt then put his hands in his pockets very quickly. The gangsters then shot Walt because they thought he would take a gun. However, he actually took a match out of his shirt.
I think your ass would have came.
Shut up, Goop. Any swamp rats in there? You go ahead. Watch out for your boyfriend. Because it was either he or you or someone who raped one of their own family. Your own blood, for Christ's sake.
You're gonna do the punk ass, bitch.
A light?
The fuck?
The brutal shooting resulted in Walt's death, with dozens of bullets lodged in his body. This incident was witnessed directly by the neighbors who were there. Not long after, the police arrived on the scene to arrest the gangsters on charges of shooting an unarmed man. Apparently, Walt didn't mean to take revenge but sacrificed himself for the safety of the Tao and Sue families. Moreover, he realized that his life was not long, so he chose to die as a hero.
What happened?
You need to step back.
A few days after Walt was buried, city officials held an inheritance distribution ceremony. During the event, it was discovered that Walt gave his house to the church at his late wife's request. While Walt's Gran Torino car was officially given to Tao because only Tao accompanied Walt's days until the end of his life. Sometime after that, the scene shows Tao driving the Gran Torino, and the film ends. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy, hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice just to be sure. You should watch the full movie. Thank you very much for watching.